Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video for Valheim. In this video, folks, I'm going to show you how to build this base, or how I built this base. Now, of course, I'm going to be using the creative mode. If I were to do this without the creative mode, it would take a very long time, and in between work and YouTube and everything else, it'll take too long for me to actually do it. So I'm going to show you how to build a tree house, tree base, whatever you want to call it. You can even build a village, because as you can see, the trees are fairly close to each other and they do act as structural support for your buildings. And what's even nicer about these trees is that they cannot be destroyed, neither by you nor by NPCs. So it is a very safe base location. It is actually raid proof, and you can kind of choose what tree you want to start up with, but I went with an inclined tree, as you can see right there. Okay, so here we are with the beginning of the build. I have gone with the ladders. Chosen the ladders because they're a bit derpy when we go up for us as players, and a lot more derpier for the NPCs. They don't really know what to do with them, so that does help with the defensive part. Now, as you can see here in this section right now where I'm starting to build, I need to go too wide, and it's actually going to be in my benefit, simply because if I decide to run up and if I decide to run up these ladders, as you saw right there, I slipped off. There's actually more space for error, and I did carefully select this first ladder right here so I don't have the ability to run up without jumping. That is, again, another little defensive tactic that I'm going to deploy to keep NPCs from getting to my base. Now, of course, the tree itself is a good defense as well, and my suggestion here is, because I am building right next to the boss altar, so that is right there, the boss altar, where we will summon the third boss, and I'm going to use this both as a base as well as a platform from which I will be basically fighting the boss. I do want it to be anywhere between 10 to 12 full-size walls high, or beams high, whichever measurement method you want to use. So that's the height we're going at. At that height, he cannot get to us. We are well out of his range, and he kind of ends up just being broken. So right now, I'm trying to decide how much higher should I go with this ladder. I think this is perfect. I think I don't want to go any higher. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I think this is where we will start building the first floor. Now, what's nice about this is, because we are using the trees, we can actually use the trees to our advantage as structural support, and you can actually build quite a few stories tall if you want to do that. If you want to have multiple floors, then that's, something you can choose. Right there, as you saw, I was actually struggling quite badly with trying to snap the floor onto the ladders, but again, the tree itself acts as a grounding foundation support, so we can always build platforms on it from which we can then attach the pieces that we want in the way that we want them. So I'm slightly standing in the area where I want to attach the next piece, so I need to move a bit. There we go. So this is basically going to be the floor. So I'm going to go all the way around. I'm going to leave like a little hole in the floor, and this will be the entrance into the base. So technically, we are going to enter the base from the bottom up. Trying to attach this as best I can. Now, if you are struggling with this, there is a method that I can show you how to do this. But in this case, I'll show you later on in this video. But in this case, it did work to my benefit. So if you are struggling with going widthwise, you just need to place a foundation halfway out and then kind of go on top of that foundation. So that should give you the clearance to place more floors down. Okay, so I've sped this section up. I mean, this was built over a very long time. And over there, as you saw, I went with half floors or quarter floors, whatever you want to call them, but that allows us enough space to get into the base. Here we are with what I was saying before. So basically, place a floor that is half hanging out, and that kind of gives us the clearance that we need to see the edge of the floor to then snap the next floor tile. The blue ones mean that they have sufficient support, and that is because they are attached to the non-destructible tree, which is kind of cool. So again, we're going to do the same thing here on this end. And then I'm going to basically go to the edge. Careful not to fall from the side. It would be disastrous. I haven't placed down a bed, so that would definitely hurt. Also remember that you will need to keep adding the workbenches as you build upwards and expand your base. That is actually a must because the area is actually a sphere. So right here I'm deciding how big I want this first room to be. Now I know that there are trees in the way, and so this will probably just serve as the entrance point, but also the platform from which I will be fighting the boss when I'm ready to do so. So as you can see right here, I'm able to expand into the other tree. When you get close to the red marker, you want to snap the piece as quick as possible into the tree so that you give it support. Also, as you can see right here, now I am going to place down some stone floors. Now you can come from the tree if you want to, but it doesn't really snap the way I want it, so you can snap it on top of the wooden foundations that you put down, the wooden flooring that you put down, or you can try and snap it to the side of the wooden flooring that you put down. If you do snap it to the side of the wooden flooring that you put down, the stone floor that you put down won't have the support, so as it cycles through its support, it will find out that it doesn't have the support and will break. So you have to be pretty quick. So on top of this, of course, you can place the campfires, and you can also place the forge and the smelters. I mean, an easier way to do that is just to have the wooden flooring, and then on top of that to have the stone flooring. And the stone flooring basically gives you the ability to place down smelters and the kiln and the campfires and all the other bits and pieces that you will need in terms of the crafting station. So now it's time to build up the walls. I'm going to go with one wall panel and a half high, and there's a good reason to that, because I will want to have access to the roof. So this is the section here that I'm going to place down the half wall. I'm also going to use the half wall to build a window type structure, because why not? Okay, so I've sped this bit up just so you guys see what I'm doing. Now, of course, you will see that certain structures are starting to lose their structural support. Okay, so I'm happy with what I have so far. I need to start placing down some roofs, because it kind of bugs me that the wooden structures have taken damage from the elements. So we're going to do the corners of the roof. It's up to you to decide what type of roof you want to place down. The angle doesn't really matter. It's just for protection. Okay, so again, speeding this section up, it's not that complicated. However, you will see in the next section, or in this part of the video, that because you're building up in a tree, there will be difficulties when you come to place down certain sections. If you are struggling from the position that you have, wait until you finish the vast majority of the roof and then try and do it from the top, if that makes sense. Okay, so right now I'm struggling with placing that corner piece right there, which is kind of bugging me. So I'm going to try and do that from the top of the roof, where I probably will place down a ladder going up to the roof. See if this one wants to snap, but it can be a bit fiddly. I mean, it is easier if you do it from the top, to be fairly honest, and that's where I think I am going to use the ladder. I just want to do as much as I can from this angle, and then I'll move over to doing it from the outside, and hopefully this way the wooden structure doesn't look like it's been beaten up. I think that's what bugs me the most about the wooden pieces. So right here, I'm trying to figure out where I'm putting down the gates. I do get it wrong, and I don't realize that there is actually a branch in the way. Alright, I realized that there's that branch right there. I didn't see it when I placed down the gates, but that's fine. I will just shift them to the side. So I'm at the top here. We're going to place the smoke evacuation system, if you want to call it. I'm already taking damage from it, as you can see. So just half beams going up. And when you've done with the half beams, you have to fiddle with the end part of the roof itself. But once you get it in the position that you're happy with, the other pieces snap onto it, and that's pretty cool. Of course, you can also use the horizontal beams to create like a frame if you want to do that just for design purposes. Alright, it's time to do something about these doors because I can't go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these doors, these gates, and widen this platform by another floor piece. And that should be wide enough for everything. I'm not actually going to narrow it down because I'm going to have a ladder going up to the roof just for maintenance purposes. Okay, placing down the gates for the second time. We want to spin this one this way around. We have double gates, and this will be like a little bridge type of structure. At least that's how I envisioned it. So we'll do this, but obviously the wood takes damage from the rain, and it always rains here in the swamp. So I want to find the full-sized vertical beams, and we're going to place them at every corner of the floor. And off of that, I'm going to look at a way to build a railing system as well, and we'll attach a roof at the top as well. Now, of course, if you are struggling in this scenario, I suggest you put the beams down before you put the staircase going up. I wasn't smart enough to do that. I put in the staircase first, and that does mean it becomes a bit more fiddly to attach stuff to it. Okay, so I've been trying to put down the first or the next piece, which would be the first piece of the roof. I was playing around with the the floor piece, and it's not snapping onto the beam. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go with a wall that can attach from the roof or the wall below us, and onto that I'm going to attach a floor piece, and hopefully that should attach and snap onto the beam. And that is just a temporary thing that I put up, so then I can attach the roof to it and then kind of roof this section off. It does get a bit fiddly, but hey ho, there we go. We found the snapping piece that we want. We want to position it or angle it in a specific way just to keep the pattern going. There we go. That's what I was after. So I think that from this point forth should be alright. Now, because this is a 3 wide platform, it just means that there will be a difference in angles, as you will see right here. But that also plays to my advantage because I will have the staircase. And yeah, it's not uniform, but it looks alright. I like the idea of it. It doesn't always have to be uniform. And obviously we need the structural support from the beams. Okay, so I'm looking at methods here to try and create a railing. Now, I want that railing to actually stop me from falling out. If I do decide to, or if I'm in a rush, I don't really want to fall out of my treehouse stroke tree base. So that's what I was looking at, but I then decided to go with the beams here because it does actually look better with the beams going into the floor like this. Now I just need to find a way to attach another set of beams that stop me from falling out. Okay, so this is what I found. I put down a half wall, and then on top of that half wall a beam, and from that point forward I can then attach beams going all the way across, demolish that half wall, and there's my railing. That's what I was after. I'm now happy because I can't fall out. And it actually looks quite alright. I do like the whole design here. Let's put down some source of light. I'm going to go for these. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm only using things that I would have access to normally. So this is what I would have access to if I was doing this naturally. So this kind of shows you what this looks like. I think it's looking pretty cool. Alright, we'll place this one here on the staircase. Okay, so this is one of the things that bugs me, is the fact that most of these staircases here are taking damage from the environment. Now, I want to try and protect half of them at the least from the elements. So, I'm going to build like a little roof coming downwards. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this, but this is just something that's occurred to me now. Probably also try and put a railing on the side. Maybe that's something to look at, because knowing my luck, I'll find a way to fall off this. So I'm going to go down with 2 of these roofs. I have chosen the 45-degree angle because we are going down at a steep slope. Jesus, English. So we'll do that, but we're going towards the red now. So I need to create some sort of support if I want to push it any further. So I think I'm going to go with the 45-degree beams, and then from the beams I will have to find a perfect snapping point that snaps them into the tree, and so then the tree trunk itself can act as the main support structure for this roof. I'm gonna go with this section up here, but I might potentially try and take it all the way down later on. I don't know. Okay, that's too far out, I think. Yeah, that's too far out. Right, we'll do that closer. So because I went with 3 wide, that means we're gonna go with support from the middle piece, so the middle roof tile, and we'll snap it into the tree itself, and then we have support for that roof. Another thing you can do, if you choose to, is to create these types of beams that support your base. You don't have to, because really it kind of supports itself, but if you want to do this for design purposes, you can do this now, because we built up a tree that acts as a structural support or ground support. We can then attach, as you see right here, a floor piece to lower ourselves and just kind of work off of that. And of course we can do this all the way around, just like you see right here, and this will allow us to have like 45-degree angled beams coming from the floor into the tree, and have that additional support and make it look like it is actually being supported by those beams. I mean, as I said, you don't have to. And right here what I've done is I've chosen a height for the 45-degree beams again, connected them both at the top and at the bottom, and then went with the beam across to get the same height on the other end, and then from there forward basically I now have a kind of like a rail system, so if I do decide to run up the stairs I won't fall off. That's kind of the idea behind it. I mean, you could probably go further down if you want to. I'd have to remove some beams temporarily, but that's something to look at, something to consider. I mean, you can go even like this if you want, just for design purposes. I think it looks pretty alright. It looks like it's being supported, so I like that idea. Okay, so now I am building what would be the main quarters. So this will have the bed, we'll have some creature comforts and stuff like that, plus a little corridor that is a combination of a bridge corridor. So I can also put gates down here and stuff like that, portals I think they're called, or something like that. But yeah, again, you can see that I'm using what I've been showing you before with regards to expanding, and we're using the trees again as the ground stroke structural support to do this. But I do like the fact that you can build in this type of environment. I really like this, and I think I'd like to see this in Conan Exiles and even in Ark actually. Alright, so this is the finished product here. I'm going to show you around. I mean, you don't have to build anything like this, but there is so much room for design here. You can have multiple stories if you want, or floors, you want to call it that? If you want to call that stories, floors, whatever. Like, design wise, there is no limitation to how big you can build, as long as you have trees close by, or that are within close proximity. And if you look around, there's a lot of them. You can actually build huge bases. Now, of course, you're going to have to work with the environment and stuff. So this is the outside view of the base. This is one angle right here, and so here's another angle. So this is what it looks like. I mean, this is where I decided to stop. I could have gone so much further. I think it looks freaking amazing. The whole idea of building up in these trees, I really enjoyed. Yes, the swamp is a dangerous biome to live in. It's dark, it's wet, because it's a swamp, but hey ho. However, in terms of building, I think this is my favorite. It's just forces you to be creative, and I like that so much. Like, this is cool. I want to see stuff like this in Ark and Conan Exiles. This is genius. I love it. Okay, so let me show you around the base. I'm going to go up these stairs. This is basically the entrance point into the base itself. So we've got a chair here. I've only placed stuff down, cosmetically speaking, so that I get the rested buff. So we want to have a decently high comfort level, but because of this being the main tree and it's at an angle, we don't really have that much space. It looks like there is a lot of space, but there isn't. So we've got our initial basic cooking stations right here. We have the roof up there. We got some braziers as well, so that will create some ventilation. We have a bench right here. We've got a giant window. I can actually jump out that window, I think. We've got a gate this way, and right here, this is where the fun part was. We've got the altar where we summon the boss right down there, and this is not just a balcony. This is a special balcony because I can remove the center floor piece to have a hole through which I can shoot down at the boss should I need to do so. So that is the purpose for that. And here we have the corridor that you saw me build. Of course, after building it, I have had to go back and repair all the pieces. So now we have access to the roof. If I decide to expand and add another level, another floor, I can do so. And so similar ventilation system on this end right here, because this will be, as you see, the crafting area. Now I told you that if you place down the wooden floors, on top of them you can place down the stone floors, which is what happened here. And on top of that you can then add the forge, the smelter, the kiln, barrels, have campfires, all sorts of things. And so this is like a crafting area, or the main crafting area. I did have to kind of shelve some stuff because I was running out of space, but that's also an option. And then if we go this way, this is the main living quarters. We've got some storage space over here. I can place some portals, but I can also have a look out in the environment, although there isn't really all that much to see, in all fairness. I mean, it's kind of grey, wet and rainy, so, but it's still there. The option is there. It'd be nice if it wasn't always grey, wet and rainy, or if an environment would be built in this game where it had the same type of structure, tree structure, where you could build something like this. Over here we have a balcony. Again, same thing over here. I can actually have a look at stuff. I think it looks pretty cool. There are a couple of details that I can add and change around and make it look more cooler. But yeah, we have a fire there. We have a workstation. We have a chair, some storage space, and we have some stairs going up. We have another window up here that, in theory, you can look out, but we can't really because of how the camera's angled. And over here we have another chair. We have a rug. We have a bed as well. So this is my main spawn point at this point in the game. So yeah, this is what you can do. I mean, I decided to stop here, but you don't have to. You don't have to build similar to this. You can build as big as you want, providing there are trees close enough, and you can actually get to other trees. There are ways, and you can build some really creative structures. Now I do hope that you have liked this video. If you have, please do not forget to show me by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want me to do more building videos like this and show you more ideas for building bases in this game. This has a very nice and interesting mechanic with regards to building bases. It allows us to build bases in locations that other games haven't really considered, and I like that. That is pretty cool. I mean, Ark and Conan have something like that, but it's nice that there is a forest and you can actually build a base at the top of trees. I like that idea. That's been sold to me. I love it. Now, of course, I can come up with more designs, and I have more designs in mind, so do subscribe for that. And finally, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. Until next time, stay safe, folks.